Welcome to the TwitchCon 2019 Cosplay Contest. Please give a warm round of applause to your hosts, Anna Prosser and Adam Savage.
It's a long walk over here. We made it. Hello.
Yes.
Thank you all so much for coming to see the amazing cosplay that the Twitch community has put together this year. My name is Anna Prosser, and with me is Adam Savage.
Thank you. I am so stoked to be here. I decided to dress up for the occasion in Captain Jack Aubrey's uniform from Master and Commander. And on the way here from the airport, I suddenly remembered that his ship is in the harbor.
Yeah. You're going to go take pictures,
I am going to go take pictures tomorrow morning, yes.
Absolutely. And you have a lot of experience in the world of cosplay as well, right?
I have been a cosplayer since I was 10 years old, and I cut apart a Baskin & Robbins ice cream container to make a space helmet. And then I discovered that on Mythbusters, I could not only wear costumes to tell stories, but because I was doing it for work, I could deduct every expense.
Yes, absolutely.
And that meant that it was time for me to cosplay full-time, and yeah, I've been doing it ever since.
Well, you inspired me, because I wasn't even planning on dressing up, but you said you were going to, so I borrowed a costume from my friend That Tall Princess. She does princess cosplay parties, and this is my favorite princess that she
Amazing!
uses. So I'm from Star Wars. I'm feeling like my best self tonight, and I'm so excited. Adam, what would you say is your favorite cosplay that you've ever seen before?
That I've ever seen?
Yeah.
Oh.
I know that that's a really unfair question, and I asked it, so I don't have to answer it.
It was really specifically a pink Hello Kitty Darth Vader mashup.
I've seen that one. It's amazing.
It was really early in my assembly of costumes, and I just thought, I am not thinking big enough. Like,
Yes.
if someone can find like every costume in cosplay is like an enthusiasm pyramid at which the costume is only the tip of this incredible amount of effort. And I saw Darth Vader Hello Kitty, and I really, like, it expanded my horizon.
Yes, that big brain energy.
Yeah.
We are going to see some amazing big brain and big costume energy tonight. While we don't have anyone here that's quite going the kawaii Sith Lord route, we have amazing cosplays in store. The 16 people that are joining us on stage are the absolute best of the best, and I'm so excited for you folks to see the A game that every one of them brought to the table this year.
Okay, but before we get to them, how would you folks like to meet your judges for the evening? There we go.
Yes. Now, first, you may remember our first judge as the grand prize winner from last year's cosplay contest with her amazing depiction of Amethyst by our artist Saxo. Please welcome to the stage Casey Renee of Casey Renee Cosplay.
Casey Renee is an award-winning cosplayer focused on sewing and live streaming. Casey is passionate about needlework, Disney, and historical costuming. She loves sharing her experience with others and helping the cosplay community as a whole learn new things and celebrate their craftsmanship. You can find her live on Twitch at Casey Renee Cosplay. She's rocking a stunning Morticia Addams costume right now, which really showcases her phenomenal talent.
Absolutely amazing. Welcome, Casey. Thanks for coming. Now, next, this judge owns a world-renowned prop-making studio whose costumes, weapons, and armor have been commissioned by companies such as Blizzard, Bethesda, Activision, and Wizards of the Coast. Please give it up for the owner and lead designer of Vulpin Props, Harrison Cricks. Woo!
Harrison is dressed as the sole survivor from Fallout 4. Harrison and his team have created pieces such as the Moa from Warframe, their full-size Dragon Culture from Honkai, Impact Third and esports trophies, and awards for Riot, Blizzard, and even TwitchCon. As you can see, his costume highlights a bunch of different techniques for hard surface work and weathering, one of my favorites, which means he's our resident expert when it comes to the armor category of tonight's show.
Let's hear it one more time for Harrison. Now, I'm very excited to introduce y'all to your third judge for the evening. Please welcome to the stage Henchman Studios' own Jillian Owen. Established in 2013, Henchman has forged a reputation for excellence, working with industry leaders such as Blizzard Entertainment, BioWare, Square Enix, Respawn Entertainment, Oat Studios, and many more.
Jillian's expert eye will prove especially beneficial in the larger-than-life category, with her costume portfolio including characters such as Colossus, Storm, and Interceptor from the game Anthem.
Give it up one more time for Jillian!
Woo!
Thanks so much for joining us. Our final judge for the evening will be familiar to many of you as a member of the Twitch cosplay and gaming communities. Make it loud for the delightful and talented Pocket!
Woo! For this year's cosplay contest, Pocket is dressed as Mad Moxie from the Borderlands games. Her demonstrable skill with cosplay tools such as makeup, airbrushing, liquid latex, and prosthetic sculpting means she'll be our go-to expert for the special effects category tonight.
Put your hands together one more time for all of your judges for the evening. Now that we've met the judges, let's talk about the different categories that our cosplayers will be competing in tonight.
Cosplay is a huge umbrella term, and we wanted to make sure that each type of cosplay gets its specific time to shine. So we've broken the contest into 4 categories. The first one we'll be showcasing tonight is needlework.
The needlework category is all about textiles and fabric. Specifically, we're looking at the fine detail that goes into manipulating cloth, such as sewing, starching, embroidery, and beadwork.
The contestants in this category have put in hundreds, if not thousands of hours, tens of thousands of beads, and countless yards of fabric into this year's costume. And I am so excited for y'all to see what they have fabricated.
Yes, sewing is my jam. And so I always get super inspired by this category. I love how the history and artisanship of needlework can get shown off in these sick, modern creations.
The next category happens to be one of my favorites, is the armor category. This category is pretty much exactly what it sounds like.
The armor category is all about creating an armored appearance. And since most armor in video games doesn't really obey the laws of physics, cosplayers have found a bunch of cool workarounds to make wearable gear that doesn't also weigh a metric hecton.
That's a very nice way to put it. That's right. And instead of making plate mail out of actual steel or iron, cosplayers construct their costumes using things like EVA foam, thermoplastics, and even 3D printing.
This keeps their costumes lightweight, breathable, and not smelling like the inside of a locker room, hopefully.
No, there's always sweating.
That's true.
When you're dressed like the Master Chief, the last thing you want is to be stopping at a Walgreens to look for Gold Bond powder, but
So true.
it might just have to happen.
The third category for this evening is special effects. This can be anything from latex makeup and fiber optics to full-on animatronics.
The contestants in this category have put together cosplay that relies heavily on stuff that moves, lights up, makes sounds, basically all the scariest part of those big Halloween stores that pop up every year, except super customized, homemade, and way cooler.
Speaking of Halloween, and we just talked about our costumes, are you dressing up for Halloween this year?
On Halloween, I cosplayed years ago as Totoro.
Oh, awesome.
From my neighbor Totoro. And a few years ago, we started wandering around my neighborhood of the Mission District in San Francisco as Totoro, which my wife says is an antidepressant. Because when people see a full-size Totoro for real, they lose their minds.
Just smile.
It's like a grinectomy. It's amazing.
That's amazing. I hope you carry a leaf with you in case it rains.
I do. I have a leaf. It's under that leaf I hide the camera which I see people from.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I hand out treats for trick-or-treating.
Oh, great. Well, you got to stay true to that source material. Although I have gone as Lara Croft for like the last 5 years, and I'm terrible at parkour and archaeology, so I actually can't talk at all. But anyway, the final category for this contest is the larger-than-life category.
These cosplayers really went whole hog with the idea that bigger is better. Cosplay in this category must extend from the wearer's body at least a foot. Costumes that fit in this category would include characters such as Big Daddy from BioShock, a xenomorph from the Alien film, and, or Overwatch's Reinhardt.
And speaking of which, the grand prize winner of the very first TwitchCon Cosplay Contest was Hoku Props, who was dressed as Reinhardt. It was an amazing cosplay, and it set a precedent for the astounding work that contestants have put into their costumes every year since.
Speaking of precedent, let's talk a little bit about what defines amazing cosplay. Specifically, let's cover the judging criteria. The contestants in this year's competition will be judged according to 4 parameters.
First, the quality of the techniques demonstrated. Basically, how well did they execute the technical aspects of their costume? Are their stitches straight? Is the warbler warped? Does Cloud's 6-foot-long Buster Sword look as heavy as it should? This is where the judges really look at the cosplayer's raw skill.
The next category, the next criteria the judges consider is the materials and resourcefulness. This category takes into consideration whether or not the contestants utilize the appropriate materials for the item in question. Sure, maybe you made a life-size replica of the Batmobile, but if you made it out of chicken wire pillows and pizza boxes, the end result might look a little jank.
That's true, although Vulpin Props made a pretty phenomenal Soul Calibur, Nightmare, and Soul Edge piece out of an Arby's food packaging, so anything is possible.
Totally true.
Now, the third thing the judges are looking for is the functionality of the cosplay. So this covers both its wearability and if the whole thing is working the way it's intended to. So they're looking at whether or not the cosplayer can move around in the cosplay and how well it survives being worn. So plus, they're looking at stuff like, are the parts that light up actually lighting up? Are the animatronic parts moving like they're supposed to? All of these details go into scoring for this category.
Okay, there's one aspect of this, which is when you cosplay and you put on your costume for the first time and it's got all these different elements, I guarantee every single person who does this, there's something that goes doink and like breaks on that first. And it's always like, oh! And these categories with animatronics and lights and electronics, the stakes are so much higher. There's so much more that can go wrong.
I even had like an arm wrap mishap that was happening. And I'm not even wearing anything that extends from my body, so you are totally right.
Exactly. All right. Sorry, you want to rewind that just a little bit?
we got to talking. It happened.
I was talking extemporaneous.
Yeah.
The final element that the judges are looking for is the cosplay's overall aesthetics. This is pretty straightforward. How does it look? How does the end product fit the cosplayer's intended goal? Does it have that wow factor that you only see in truly great cosplay?
That last one especially, I can tell you that each and every one of the costumes you're about to see, it will just have your jaw on the floor.
Backstage, where they were all, and currently are all jumbled together in some sort of nightmare scenario, it is a constant wow factor.
Absolutely. You know, the judges have so much to do, Adam.
Thank you for the lead-in. I don't envy the judges' job today, and I can't begin to pick my favorite out of the phenomenal lineup you are about to see.
That's true. And luckily, we don't have to pick a favorite. That is not our job, but the audience can.
Folks in the audience watching the stream will be able to vote themselves for their favorite in each category, with the overall fan favorite winning their own special prize. At the end of each category, you all watching will have 30 seconds to vote for your favorite. For people watching at home, you'll see the polling extension pop up on the screen. As for our fine audience here tonight, just go to the Twitch app on your phone and head to the Twitch homepage.
Right. So now that we've covered how people win, let's talk about what they will win. The overall fan favorite, who's chosen by you, like we just described, will win a medal and $4 grand.
$4,000 bucks. On top of that, each category winner that the judges pick will also receive a medal and $4,000, with the overall winner taking home the grand prize trophy and $15,000.
You can buy a lot of foam with that.
You could make at least one of these costumes with that.
So now, without further ado, would you all like to meet the contestants in the 2019 TwitchCon Cosplay Contest?
Up first, in the needlework category, please give an incredibly loud, warm welcome to the stage, Alpaca Ash.
Alpaca Ash is dressed as the Red Mage from Final Fantasy XIV. The coat, bustle, hat, cape, and boots were all patterned from scratch, and all the embroidery was custom made for this piece. To design the 3D printed pieces, Ash also used the digital sculpting tool ZBrush.
The Red Mage required textile techniques such as draping, embroidery, and leatherwork, and 500 plus hours that she put into it clearly shows.
Absolutely beautiful. Give it up for Alpaca Ash and her phenomenal recreation of the Red Mage from Final Fantasy XIV.
Your next contestant coming to the stage is the wonderful and talented Jingle Boo Boo.
Jingle Boo Boo is cosplaying as Princess Zelda from Twilight Princess. Her handcrafted armor is painstakingly covered with gold leaf, while her dress, gloves, and scarf glitter with thousands of hand-sewn Swarovski, pearls, and glass beads.
Jingle Boo Boo's use of silk dupioni, metallic lambskin leathers, and luscious velvet really brings Princess Zelda to life.
Oh my gosh, wow. Give it up one more time. And keep that applause going for your third contestant in the needlework category, the delightful Skitsy Poo.
Skitsy Poo is wearing her own original design of the sun goddess, Amaterasu. This cosplay showcases a combination of sewing techniques such as French seams, blind stitching, I don't know what either of those things are, embroidery, and beading.
They are hard and very cool. The costume is inspired by the classic video game Okami, as well as the fashion of Heian-era Japan.
Looking at how flowing and weightless this costume appears, you'd never guess that between 48 yards of fabric, a 6-foot train, LED lights, and all the beads and trim, this costume weighs in at over 30 pounds.
Wow. Let's hear it again for Skitsy Poo and her beautiful interpretation of Amaterasu.
And please, welcome to the stage your final contestant in the needlework category, Bith Lord.
Welcome, Bith Lord. Bith Lord is cosplaying as Sir Robin, the not quite so brave as Sir Lancelot from Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Sir Robin, who we're lucky enough to see before he runs away, is wearing wool yarn knit on oversized needles, dab painted with silver, giving it the appearance of chainmail. This is actually how they used to make chainmail in the films. The surcoat is lined with hand-dyed green fabric and painted with Sir Robin's green and white checkered heraldry, and his shield is pressed and painted wood.
Like you said, the only thing missing are a good pair of running shoes, which would come in handy for Sir Robin's favorite activity, running away.
Exactly.
Let's hear it for him one more time. There he goes.
And please, give a warm round of applause to all the contestants you've seen in the needlework category. We saw Alpaca Ash, dressed as the Red Mage from Final Fantasy XIV, Jingle Boo Boo cosplaying as Princess Zelda, and Skitsy Poo with her own design of the sun goddess Amaterasu.
And finally, Amaterasu.
Amaterasu. I missed a syllable. Sorry.
Yeah, you know, we're learning all sorts of things. We are not the experts up here. We are just displaying it. And finally, also don't forget, bringing it home, we had Bith Lord dressed to the nines as Sir Robin from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. So don't forget, it's your job to vote for your personal favorite. You'll only have about 30 seconds to do it, so do it right now. And remember, if you're in the audience, check out the Twitch homepage on the Twitch app to log your favorite from the needlework category. So now, while you guys vote, while you're busy, let's ask our judges their thoughts on the phenomenal cosplay we just saw. And Casey, you're our resident expert, so what do you look for in terms of exceptional needlework?
So I really look for clean patterning and execution of how things come together, the engineering behind a costume, something that might look like it's all one piece. It might be multiple pieces so that it can move and function properly. And I also really appreciate different materials used. So if you saw some people had velvet or silk to peony or leather, the combination of multiple types of soft fabrics. And of course, I love beads and rhinestones and everything beautiful.
There were so many of those. I think that people in the audience maybe miss out what we can see up here, the tiny, tiny beads and all the applique and things. What would you say that you want people in the audience to know that you can see from up here that they can't?
We can see everything.
Well, we get 10 minutes with every contestant, so we can look at the inside of something and see if it's lined. We can check to make sure if all the edges are nice and even, if the stitching is just a millimeter off. And at this level of competition, 1 millimeter is what separates a win from a second place.
Yeah.
All the different costumes have so many different little intricate details that you can't see from stage, but up close, they're all so beautiful and phenomenal.
Well, thank you guys. Oh, Pocket.
Oh, and it's really exciting because a lot of them shared how they put it together and the steps
cool.
it took. So being able to see that as a judge behind the scenes was really, really fascinating.
Oh, I bet. The amount of hours and steps they probably took putting them together. Well, I can't wait to pick your brains more, but I'm also so excited to see who the audience picked for their category favorite, but we can't until the end of the show.
Damn it.
For right now, are you ready to see more cosplay? I thought so.
All right. Well, you're in luck because coming up next is the armor category.
Absolutely. Now, remember, did you want to talk about armor?
Now I'm remembering that I look at the prompter that I forgot my gauntlet. I was going to bring a pair of gauntlets because a couple of years ago I got to fulfill a deep cosplay dream. The first costume I really, really wanted was a suit of armor from Excalibur. And in 1982, I made one out of aluminum with my dad, wore it to high school,
Wow.
and passed out of heat exhaustion in third period.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, I was carried unconscious to the nurse's office
In
where my
armor?
armor was cut off of me. Yeah. And 2 years ago, I got to go to Cornwall, England, where Terry English, who designed and built all the armor for Excalibur, took me on as an apprentice for 8 days, and we made me a suit of armor.
Wow.
And it's still one, it actually lives in my foyer in my house at home.
All set up?
It's one of the first things I see when I walk in the door. And the gauntlets are particular. Like, there's something about the plate armor of gauntlets that still really thrills me at a 12-year-old level.
Oh, absolutely. And I imagine that you think about how you'd be able to move and actually use them if you were to have a situation where armor would require.
This is the thing, is when you put on a real pair of gauntlets that have the slots and they're constructed correctly, you have no loss of agility with them. And all of these cosplays are about compromising agility for the costume. And there are some incredibly amazing things that happen underneath the costumes and behind the scenes that allow them to be worn. And armor is no different. It's the result of many, many hundreds of years of iteration of solving these beautiful mechanical
wow.
problems.
Well, I am geeking out with you, Adam, and I think we could do that forever. But remember, the entrants in this category are all about using lighter, shapeable materials to create the appearance of that weight.
Yes, there's not actually steel armor. I am totally blown away by the work that they've put into their costumes this year. So let's get into it with our first contestant.
Yes, please give it up for Nagasaki.
Oh my gosh. Nagasaki is cosplaying as Sindragosa from World of Warcraft, queen of the First Brood and former prime consort of the Aspect, Malygos.
Yes. Nagasaki's mighty frostworm costume, based on the Zack Fisher design, is constructed from Warbler, pink insulation, and EVA foam, clear polyester resin, and liquid plastic. The pattern for each piece was hand-drawn on poster board and used to shape the insulation foam for the horns and the various spiky bits. The scales are all cut from Warbler with a blue tint enhanced by an intricate LED lighting system. To support all that, Nagasaki designed a mounting system that buckles and velcros onto the breastplate of the armor.
Keep it going for Nagasaki Sindragosa.
Yes.
There is nothing vanilla about that cosplay.
Nope.
No.
Your next contestant coming to the stage in the armor category is Shino X Art. Shino X Art is cosplaying as the evil god awakening of Zinogre from Monster Hunter.
This Zinogre costume features over 250 hand-textured spikes, a custom set of scaled chainmail, over 80 cast and sculpted elements, and a 5-foot-long glowing ponytail. And last but certainly not least, a 6-foot-tall switch axe.
That's quite a ponytail. I'd like to grow one out that long.
I know.
Shino X spent over 1,000 hours on the scales alone, texturing each and every one by hand. She also sculpted 11 skulls, 30 spike accessories, and the massive switch axe herself. To finish the look, included a skull-laden death halo to really give the evil god a supernatural aura.
Just phenomenal. That was Shino X Art, dressed as the evil god awakening Zinogre from Monster Hunter.
And keep that applause coming for your third cosplayer in the armor category, also representing the visually stunning Monster Hunter game series, Kiki Cannon.
Kiki is wearing the Kulvertoth armor from Monster Hunter World. Every part of her costume was drafted and created from scratch, from the initial patterns all the way down to every single individual bead.
The hand-sculpted details were cast in plastic and silicone to create a functional and durable costume, and the base pieces for the armor were all life cast to ensure accuracy. Her swords took 5 different resin molds to create, which allowed for lights to be run through them, giving them the awesome glow that you see here.
And each one of those swords weighs 5 pounds, which might sound light, but it's a lot to carry around. They are beautiful and heavy enough to be functional weapons as well. Give it up one more time for Kiki Cannon and her phenomenal work on the Kulvertoth armor from Monster Hunter World. Fun fact, the Kulvertoth is a golden dragon that drops items similar to ram's horns and fleece, which is meant to be a nod to the Greek myth of Jason and the Argonauts and the ram with the golden fleece.
Ooh, very fun fact. a great concept, and an even better execution. So now for your final contestant in the armor category, please welcome to the stage, Stray205.
Stray205 is cosplaying a Blood Elf Hunter in Demon Stalker armor from World of Warcraft. The armor was created primarily from Warbler and a lightweight epoxy putty called Freeform Air. I love that stuff. Every piece, including all 131 demon teeth, was hand patterned, wired, sculpted, and sanded and painted.
Even her demon companions, Steve and Evet, were made by hand. Everything you see here, she sculpted herself and then coated with XTC 3D, which is a specialized primer designed to be used on 3D printed plastics without melting the base material. Finally, Shrine finished it all off with custom mixed acrylic paint, resulting in a look that is right at home in the thriving metropolis of Shatrath.
One more time, that was Stray205 dressed as World of Warcraft Blood Elf Hunter in Demon Stalker armor. Please keep it going for all the contestants you saw in the armor category.
And don't forget, vote now. Remember, you only have about 30 seconds to vote, so do not lollygag. To refresh your memory on the armor contestants, we started out strong with Nagasaki, cosplaying as Syndragosa from World of Warcraft, and then the hits kept coming with Shino X Art and her take on the evil god incarnation of the Zinogre armor in Monster Hunter.
Following that, we had the phenomenal Kiki Cannon slaying with her cosplay of the Kulve Taroth armor from Monster Hunter World, and finally finishing strong in her Demon Stalker armor from World of Warcraft, we had the talented Stray205.
And remember, vote for your favorite. And in the meantime, let's hear again from our judges. Harrison, as the de facto armor expert, what do you look for in really good armor cosplay?
So I think you guys summarized it really well. Armor is about faking things. Effectively, you want somebody who can lie really good with paint, right? You need plastic to look like metal. You need foam to look like a sword. You need all of this stuff to imply that it was crafted in some mystical land from an ancient god, but really you bought it at Harbor Freight and slapped a bunch of paint on it. So with the rise of rapid prototyping, 3D printing, everybody now has access to amazing tools, so the level of quality keeps getting higher with all of these tools and accessibility. So you get really granular. You look at, are there any print lines here? Is it sanded correctly? Does the armor ship in just the right way to make it look like it's steel underneath? Is the rust right? Lots of really tiny little things, and what you're looking for is somebody who can tell a story with their paint and sculpture work.
And you can also look at like how is it attached, and is it very visible, all the things that are attaching it, and if it has things like LEDs, can you see the wires, can you see the lights, or is it like, it's a lot to look for, but it's like basically like he said, you have to kind of get down to nitpicking because they're so good. So.
I was thinking, Adam, you told your story about passing out and going to the nurse's office. Yeah. A lot of people, we were talking about the detail of needlework, but a lot of people also might not know how much it takes to support the weight of a costume and how much physical endurance it takes. So can you tell us a little bit about the physical side of cosplay?
Well, my hand is slowly going numb inside this thing. That's not great.
Yeah, so many of the different armor costumes put so much weight on your shoulders that just drag you down over the day. I know so many people who've ended up with just bruises and aches and pains that have them laying in bed for the next few days recuperating.
Yeah, and it lasts for days. That's the thing. Yeah.
Well, even with needlework, like corsetry and hoops and things like that, they end up weighing a lot when you're using things like steel inside of your corsets. So they can weigh a lot, and body modification is painful.
Yeah.
But we look great when we do it.
You do. Yes, thank you guys. That's such good insight. You guys are fantastic judges, aren't they?
Now, we've seen a lot of costumes so far that have pretty awesome special effects, but this next category really highlights the amazing multimedia things that people can do with cosplay, especially nowadays. The next category is especially high stakes, as I said before, because anytime you add moving parts, the chance of something breaking increases tenfold. I would say actually like 50-fold. Trust me, I have learned the hard way. Now, are you all ready for the effects portion of the show?
So, if it moves, it lights up, or it makes sounds, it's a special effect. And these 4 contestants put all of that together and more for this year's competition. So please, get excited for your first FX cosplayer, Bradiator!
Oh my gosh. All right, Bradiator is dressed as the demonic skin for the Greek personification of death Thanatos from the game Smite.
This cosplay features 2 sets of articulating wings with a 10-foot span and a 6-foot-tall scythe with pulsating blades, perfect for harvesting the souls of the damned. The wings are made of dowels and tissue paper to cut down on weight. They're controlled by a rocker switch connected to a 12-volt linear actuator and can break down into small enough sections that they can fit in checked luggage for travel.
This is always the thing, is how you get a costume to a con. Bradiator let us know that this was his first time creating articulated wings and facial prosthetics. And I don't know about you, but I think he kind of knocked it out of the park. Give one last round of applause for his cosplay as demonic Thanatos. Amazing.
Wow. Your next contestant in the FX category is the one and only Talk Custom.
Woo! Talk Custom is cosplaying in Zinogre armor from Monster Hunter World.
The armor is all TNT Cosplay Supply EVA foam with the glowing effect supplied by Plastizote, a type of polyethylene foam.
The bodysuit and chaps are handmade from spandex and denim and custom tailored to perfectly fit Talk, giving the cosplay a clean, professional appearance.
To simulate the turquoise bioluminescence that Zinogre is known for, Talk wired custom-made sound-reactive lights throughout the armor. Wow. He finished it off with a primer coat of Flex Bond and a few passes with the airbrush, giving it Zinogre's distinctive blue hue.
Finally, his weapon is a hunting horn, which in the game plays music that can do everything from curing poison to buffing attacks to immunity from Monster Wars. This particular hunting horn is a genuine badass guitar, which looks like it'd be right in the hands of Lemmy.
One more time, that was Talk Custom killing it in the Zinogre armor from Monster Hunter World.
Give it up for him and keep it going to the third contestant in the FX category, Sayacat.
Sayacat Cosplay absolutely brought her A-game this year, dressed as Diablo 3's coven leader, Magda. The headpiece and body section of the costume are constructed from various types of thermoplastics, silk, and cotton, with over 1,000 glass beads hand-sewn onto the bodice.
Magda's signature moths are constructed from Warbler, faux fur, EVA foam, fiber fill, and resin. The bodies of the moths are hollow to make room for the wing hardware, the geared servo, and the 12-volt batteries powering each one. To get the movement you see here, Sayacat modified code from the Arduino server code library.
Wow. The body armor, gloves, and moths are all connected to the bodice via silk dupioni to ensure that it blends with the overall costume.
Also, Sayacat made sure to include pockets on the cosplay, which as someone who has worn a lot of costumes without them, I think it's deeply impressive in its own right.
Absolutely. Give it up for Sayacat Cosplay. Dressed to impress as Magna from Diablo 3.
Now we're down to the final contestant in the FX category. Everybody you've seen so far has been amazing, and this last one is no different. Please make it loud for Andy Ray Cosplay.
Andy Ray is cosplaying as Koinami from League of Legends. She created a full-scale silicone mermaid tail consisting of over 2,000 hand-laid scales and over 30 pounds of silicone.
Yeah, the TSA search is really difficult for this one. Her armor is fully 3D vectored and printed, and the Arduino lighting system incorporated into her tie collar staff gives it its recognizable glow. Her prop rock is honestly the most impressive rock cosplay I've ever seen, but also the only rock cosplay I've ever seen. Wait, no, I did see a pretty good cosplay of The Rock, but that's not the same thing.
No, we can't smell what this rock is cooking. But it is rigged to exude vapor, making it look exactly like ocean spray.
I don't think we need the smell of whale breath to tie it all together.
Give it up for Andy Ray Cosplay. She blessed us with the sight, but luckily not the smell of the ocean-dwelling Nami from League of Legends.
And give it up for all the FX contestants you saw on stage tonight. Don't forget, now is your chance to vote for your favorite. Was it Bradiator dressed as demonic Thanatos from Smite?
Or was your favorite Talk Custom cosplaying in the Zinogre armor from Monster Hunter World with his real playable hunting horde?
Or maybe your heart was stolen by Sayakat's representation of Magda from Diablo 3.
Or was it our final contestant, Andy Ray, with her glowing Tide Color staff in her League of Legends Koinami cosplay?
I couldn't even begin to say which one is my favorite. They were all so impressive. I know a fair bit, obviously, about some cosplay, so each and every one of these looked awesome. And when I think about what it takes to wear them, the physical toll and the amount of ingenuity, I'm so blown away. I'm curious what the judges look for in really good FX cosplay. Pocket, what does good FX cosplay mean to you?
I mean, there's so much that goes into FX, and it's not just glowy things and spinny gadgets, but it's also the makeup and the prosthetics that you wear. And what I look for in it is, does the makeup, is it fluid with the costume? What is the quality? Is it caking? Because I know that after hours, it can tend to start to cake and run off. So there's things you can do to try to prevent that. And do the prosthetics, are they seamless with wherever you're putting them on your face or on your body? So that's one thing I look for.
I would imagine also that because of the extra technical requirements of FX, it takes time away from all the other things you're trying to make work and sing as well.
Certainly, and it's something that you kind of like even for something simple like this, I still had to do test runs.
Right.
So
There's a functionality you look for as well. You know, somebody has articulated elements, wings that are supposed to flap, or a visor that's supposed to raise up and down. Can it do that? And can it do it more than once? You know, consistency of movement, motion. Does the effect sell what it's trying to do consistently, repeatedly? Is it well engineered? This, more than anything, is an engineering competition.
Yeah.
And I also think we talked a little bit about pattern making and needlework and things like that. And when we look at FX, the creativity that has to go initially into the idea of like, I think I could make this do that, is also a huge amount of time and something to be respected, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, with the effects category, you're going to deal with so much trial and error and just trying to get your effect to work properly. So on top of just having to make your full costume, your sewing, your armor, and then you're going through all that trial and error, there's so much time that's just sunk into every one of these costumes, so much love, sweat, and tears.
Mm-hmm.
I think something is to consider too is like where the batteries are hidden, how well are they hidden? Like, are there tricks that you can do where you can use fewer batteries or smaller battery packs, things like that.
Wow.
Planning is important, and that's something cosplayers are renowned for, excellent planning. You start off with armor, and you have to say, like, well, there's going to be lights in there, so you have to make a hole for the lights, then the wires, then the battery. You have to do all that before you've even made the thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, all of those hours are really paying off because we've seen some amazing cosplay, and we are down to the final category for the evening. I'm so excited for you all to see the finalists of the Larger Than Life division.
Oh, I cannot wait to see the Larger Than Life contestants. This is going to be mind-blowing.
All right, are you ready? Your first competitor to the stage is Going Ape Costume. Let's welcome them, Going Ape Costume. Going Ape Costume has a creation inspired by the concept art for the Naga Queen from Heroes of Might and Magic.
She patterned and constructed the tail out of foam with the scales handmade from foam as well. The entire piece was sealed with liquid neoprene rubber and painted with a pearlescent top coat. For ease of travel, the entire tail can be broken down and stuffed into a checkable bag.
Ooh. Her dress features 80 hours of embroidery and 1,500 yards of thread. In her words, many techniques were used and parts were broken. The foundation for the headdress is a garage sale bike helmet, which demonstrates some impressive resourcefulness and great recycling. Attached to her helmet-turned-headdress is her Naga Queen mask made of layers of Dremel-sculpted foam.
Her dress not only features handmade trim using foil, paint, and stitching, but is also adorned with 161 machine-embroidered leaves that she designed and digitized herself.
To top it all off, she used PVC pipe and foam to create the Naga Queen's weapons, the katana, the kodachi, and the ko-naginata. These were also painted with a pearlescent top coat to match her dress.
All in all, just an exceptionally striking look. Give it up one more time for Going Ape Costume and her Naga Queen cosplay.
I can't stop looking at them.
I know.
Your second contestant in the Larger Than Life category is Tiffany Gordon Cosplay.
Woo! Tiffany is wearing her 2019 Atlantic All-Stars Mercy cosplay from Overwatch. The costume is primarily comprised of leather, warbler, EVA foam, plexiglass, and 3D printed plastics, with fairy lights and servo motors adding that extra pop that really makes it look shiny and beautiful.
Let's talk about those wings. They open to a full 6-foot span and can be broken down for travel. The base bone structure was designed in Rhino 6 and 3D printed in ABS filament. The black parts of the wings are heat-treated EVA foam, and the glowing moons are 3D printed blue PETG filament filled with blue fairy lights.
I didn't even know you could buy PETG filament, but now I'm going to go look for it. The plexiglass wing extensions were airbrushed with satin enamel sealant paint and are pin-locked to the wing's bone structure. And best part about them, they move.
The wings are powered by a 2200 milliamps per hour battery connected to a 10 amp battery eliminator circuit to help regulate the power. The whole movement mechanism is then covered by more 3D printed parts and painted to match the color of the wings.
An all-star cosplay indeed. Give it up one more time for Tiffany Gordon Cosplay, dressed as 2019 Atlantic All-Stars Mercy. And don't stop the applause, because your next contestant is truly phenomenal. Please welcome to the stage Hero Cosplay Hito Cosplay Creation.
Wow. Hito braved the world of refreshment to bring you Fallout 4's T51 Nuka-Cola Power Armor.
Amazing.
Hito spent more than 1,000 hours modeling, printing, and processing the full set of armor and props that you see on stage today.
It took 3 different 3D printers working non-stop for 98 days to create this armor out of 30 kilograms of TPU filament and 5 kilograms of PLA filament.
Once the printers finished their jobs and took a well-earned printer vacation, Hito got to smoothing them out using drywall spackle, bar top epoxy, and filler primer. The whole look was finished with a base coat of spray paint, followed by airbrushing to apply highlights, shading, and weathering.
And now he looks ready to take on a mythic Deathclaw, or maybe 7.
Give it up again for Hito Cosplay Creations! And, of course, his phenomenal T51 Nuka-Cola Power Armor.
It feels like only about 2 minutes have passed up here, but folks, we are down to the very last contestant for the evening. Please make it loud for Alkulaika Lake.
Alkali Lake.
Sorry.
Woo! Come on out, Alkali Lake.
This is a race.
We've got 2 giant ships passing in the night
They are
right
waiting
now.
respectfully for Nuka.
Yes.
Yes.
It is a long journey when you're carrying that much armor.
I can't even imagine. I think he's on stilts, too.
Has to be.
Yeah.
Those are some big feet.
There's some big shoes to fill.
All right, here it comes. Now, one more time. Let's hear it for Alkali Lake. Woo!
Yeah!
Alkali Lake is cosplaying Dr. Boom, Mad Genius, originally from World of Warcraft. Although her particular take on him comes from the version seen in the game Hearthstone.
Dr. Boom was created using 40 feet of EVA foam, 4 pounds of glue, tons of googly eyes, all of which makes the cosplay tip the scales at over 35 pounds.
The mech suit is primarily made out of EVA foam and PVC pipe on the bottom, with facial prosthetics and FX makeup to transform Alkali into the legendary warrior goblin, Dr. Boom.
The mechanical wrench arm opens and closes via a pull cable located inside the belly of the mech. The power source in the back contains strip lights and EL wiring to give it its blue glow, with some astounding goblin prosthetics to really level up the ambiance. All of her special effects are wired to an Arduino controller in the back of the mech, while the lights on the arms are powered by the battery packs inside the magnetic access panels built into the design.
Now, since Dr. Boom is only about 3 feet tall, Alkali had to use some crafty illusions to make it appear as though she's a small but mighty goblin warrior sitting inside a mech suit, which she pulled off extremely well.
I
The various
agree.
claw arms, death ray guns, and drill bits really showcase the phenomenal craftsmanship.
Give it up for Alki Lele! Also, here's a fun fact. In Hearthstone, Dr. Boom is voiced by none other than John DiMaggio, who also does the voice of Jake the dog in Adventure Time and Bender in Futurama.
You have great fun facts, Adam.
They're all right there.
And give it up, guys. Let's hear it for all of the cosplayers you saw tonight. Remember, you still need to get in your votes for your favorite larger-than-life contestant. Once we get those tallied, we'll pull the person with the most overall votes out of all 16 contestants, and they will be awarded the fan favorite prize.
To refresh your memory on the 4 larger-than-life cosplayers, you saw Going Ape costume dressed as the Naga Queen from Heroes of Might and Magic.
Following that, we had Tiffany Gordon cosplay with her 2019 Atlantic All-Stars Mercy costume, and then Hito Cosplay Creations and his T-51 Nuka-Cola Power Armor from Fallout 4.
And last but certainly not least, we saw Alkai Lilac cosplaying as Dr. Boom, Mad Genius from Hearthstone.
Some fans of
They have a little bit of fans of it.
Yeah. Once the voting is locked in, we'll tally the votes and award the top cosplayer out of all 16 of the folks you saw on stage tonight the fan favorite medal plus $4,000.
And the finalists in each category, as selected by the judges, will take home a medal and $4,000 as well. The overall winner that the judges choose from the category finalists will go home with the grand prize trophy and 15,000 smackaroos.
Ooh. Now, the votes are being counted. So let's check in. Jillian, you are our expert in larger than life. What makes the most excellent larger than life cosplay?
Well, when you're making things that are such a big scale, you really need to look at nailing the proportions of everything and then just even the overall silhouette, because you're building and changing your body proportions to match the character. So even looking at going from something like power armor, where we're real big and tall, to a 3-foot-tall goblin, you need to change where parts of your body start and stop. And even just everyone's engineering on getting in and out of these large, elaborate costumes is always so crazy to see up close.
I also think their mobility is like insane, because we don't get to see them walk this much, and to see this like now, we were like, oh wow, look at how fast some of them can walk. I was like, this is awesome. So mobility is definitely a big part.
This is when I made my Chewbacca costume and took it here to San Diego for Comic-Con. I got to Comic-Con and they're like, well, we need to go this way. And I thought, I've never walked in stairs as Chewbacca. I don't know if that's even possible or safe.
How the costumes come apart for transportation is also something we look into. I mean, everybody can make a big costume and walk out of your garage with it, but if you have to take it to a con or take it to a con in another state or on the other side of the country, then it's, you start breaking this thing apart and then you have to put it back together, and it still has to look seamless and good. More planning, more engineering.
Yeah, even with something so big, there's so much surface area to cover. Like, there's more time that goes into everything, there's more paint, but there's also so much more that could go wrong.
Yeah, especially when you give it to the TSA to get it where you're going.
Absolutely. You got to make sure that even they can't break it, right? Which is a feat.
And it's just another one where the bigger it is, the more you have to rig it together and disperse it throughout your body. And seeing how they do that was also really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't believe what we saw tonight.
Amazing. Thank you, judges. Now, I don't know about the audience, but I am dying to know who is going to have to find room in their suitcase between the moving wings or the smoke machine or an entire fake rock for a trophy and $15,000.
Wait, they have to make room for the money too? I mean, I thought we were just giving them a check, but that would be
it's
great.
all in quarters, it turns out. Yeah.
Well, that's the catch.
I was hoping for a Scrooge McDuck vault of gold. That also works.
Well, if they want to buy a vault of gold coins to swim in, they probably can, though, with their $15,000. Although I think they're going to be as disappointed as I was to learn that cartoon coin physics don't actually translate very well in the real world.
If I still had a show, I would test that. Let's find out who might be going home with a check for a new vault. Can we get the envelopes, please?
Envelopes, please. Coming from there.
There it is. Here we go.
Thank you, Annika.
That's like a magic trick.
All right. Thank you so much. Also, a big thank you to Ross O'Donovan, a.k.a. Rubber Ninja, for these awesome custom-made envelopes. Please go check him out in Artist Alley, booth number 38. So now we'll go through this category by category. So let's go ahead and welcome our needlework finalists back on stage. Please welcome them, everybody.
All right. Please give them a huge round of applause. And the category winner for the needlework section goes to Alpaca Ash for Red Mage Final Fantasy.
Woo! Congratulations, Alpaca Ash. Awesome. Now, let's hear from the judges about why they thought Alpaca Ash had the best needlework cosplay. Judges.
So some of the things that you guys can't tell about this is that the bustle separates from the garment, the pieces come apart and they're all engineered together. She also has an invisible zipper in the very front that nobody can see, and she's got a backup zipper to actually take the weight so that it will fit her properly. Everything is engineered so that the fit doesn't change due to the weight of the garments, and she did all of her own digitizing for the embroidery. She made the leather she did. If she takes she took her glove off, and she even has cuffs, and everything is fully finished despite the fact that we can't see the cuffs and things like that, because she's got a glove on.
Wow.
Oh, and the hat, yeah.
Yeah, let's give us one more spin, Alpaca Ash. She was just talking about the bustle. That's amazing.
Amazing. Give it up for Alpaca Ash. Congratulations. And for all the other needlework contestants you saw tonight.
And Alpaca Ash, you can come right over here, join the judges. Yeah, thank you. All right.
Yes.
Up next, we have the armor category. Can we get all of the armor contestants back on stage, please?
Thank you very much.
Oh, we have the envelope. Please
give the armor category a huge round of applause for all this incredible work. Mind-blowing.
Tonight's category winner for the armor section goes to Kiki Cannon for the Culture of Armor from Monster Hunter.
I had such a hard time choosing my favorite from this category, just like every other category, but I'm interested in hearing what the judges went through in making such a tough decision.
Yeah, judges, tell us about this.
So this costume is a masterclass in multiple disciplines of prop making. She has everything from traditional hand-sculpted elements, like the blades are all hand-sculpted MDF that she molded herself, and then she also employed CNC milling, 3D printing, laser cutting, clay sculpting, mold making, resin casting. There are these tiny gems. They might be 4 millimeters tall, and she's got 40 of them, custom sculpted, molded, and cast to match that armor specifically.
Wow.
The programming, the Arduino, the electronics, it's everything you look for in an armor costume, all rolled into one.
And when you get up close, the painting on it is phenomenal. It's iridescent, it's beautiful. So if you get a chance and you get up close, it's amazing.
Truly.
Congratulations one more time for Kiki Cannon.
2 down, 2 to go now for the FX category. Will the FX contestants please come on back on stage?
All right, guys, one more big round of applause for everyone you see coming back on stage.
Oh, right. And a big round of applause for the winner of the FX category, Andy Ray Cosplay, Koinami League of Legends.
Congratulations, Andy Ray.
It says winner steps forward, not winner swims forward.
Flops forward, yeah. Now, judges, tell us about this cosplay and why it was your favorite in this category. Oh, here she comes. Judges, tell us about it.
One more time. Oh, no, sorry.
So this was actually a really, really beautiful cosplay from the actual mermaid tail to the makeup, just flowing into it beautifully. And the headpiece it's polished. It was just amazing.
She made the rock, everything. She thought about how she was going to get out here and how she could do it to work with her costume.
Yeah, all of it's so clean and so well executed. Everything kind of flows seamlessly into each other, and the colors all work perfectly.
And from a technical standpoint, in the special effects world, getting silicone paint to match hard armor paint, all of the pieces on the tail are painted rubber, but all the pieces around her headpiece are 3D printed material, and doing paint matching across that is wicked hard. It looks fantastic.
It really does. Let's hear it one more time for our winner in that category.
And keep that applause going for all the FX contestants.
Yes. And now, the final category for the evening.
Amazing.
Please welcome to the stage your larger-than-life contestants. This one's going to take a little while.
What's that?
This one's going to take a little while.
No, I know.
They've got to step far in those big shoes.
Every one of these quartets feels like I'm having a bizarro multimedia hallucination.
But at least it's a good one.
It is. It's
Yeah.
the best one. Every one of these costumes inspires me to work a little bit bigger than I normally work. Here he comes. We're going to give you time. Oh my gosh. He's going to be sore tomorrow.
Good workout.
And now, for your last finalist of the evening, please make it loud for the one, the only, Going Ape costume, Naga Queen, Heroes of Might and Magic.
Going Ape costume really embodied the spirit behind the larger-than-life category, and I would love to hear from the judges exactly how they determined that. Tell us about this costume.
So when we got the reference images of what her costume's supposed to look like, and then a costume of her in the costume, I couldn't tell them apart. Everything is so bang on, it's ridiculous. Most of you can't even see some of the details that she has on this costume. She custom made almost all these textiles herself, embroidery inside and outside the costume, and even that entire headpiece is about 4 pounds.
Jeez. Wow.
Like, the detail on it is spectacular.
Even in the shoulders, she took the time to put like pearls inside the pieces that actually create the structure. So knowing that that's something we are going to see, it's just phenomenal.
When you tackle a larger-than-life costume, there's so much more surface area, and there needs to be attention to detail across all of it. And for a smaller piece, for a smaller costume, it's a little bit easier to focus on all of that. But with this, there's detail everywhere, and all of it is spot on. She didn't miss a single element.
It was a bit overwhelming because it's like I just keep finding things.
Yeah.
and we only had 10 minutes, and I'm like, okay, let's just find everything. Let's go. So it was very, very in depth with detail.
Yeah, and her movement in it is so clean and fluid that it doesn't seem like she's carrying that much weight on her, but everything altogether does add up.
Amazing work all around. Let's hear it again for Going Ape Cosplay and all the rest of the larger-than-life contestants.
All right. Now, there are some amazing costumes on stage before you, and each one of these people put countless hours of work into their cosplays, and their passion, their creativity, and their resourcefulness absolutely paid off. Let's hear it one more time for all of these finalists.
Now, before we get to the grand finalists, would you like to find out the fan favorite winner?
Yay!
Can we
I
have
wanna
the
know who
fan
you
favorite
picked.
envelope?
There it is.
Thank you. Drum roll, please. There we go. All right, the votes were counted and recounted, once in imperial, once in metric, and we have a definitive winner, democratically chosen by everyone sitting out there. What a novelty. And everyone following along on the stream, please start clapping for the fan favorite winner of the evening, Jingle Boo Boo as Zelda.
Congratulations, Jingle Boo Boo. Out of all 16 contestants, the audience was blown away by what you brought to the stage tonight. And the folks sitting at home and watching in the audience thought that you exemplified the ingenuity, creativity, and raw skill that it takes to be a cosplayer. And they think, as do Adam and I, that you deserve some serious recognition for that.
Absolutely, you did amazing work, and it really shows. Please let Jingle Boo Boo know how you feel, how awesome their costume is.
All right. Now, for that moment we've all been waiting for.
Are you guys ready to hear the grand prize winner for the 2019 Twitch Con Cosplay Contest?
I'm so ready to find out who won, Adam.
Oh, all right.
Where's the envelope?
There
We
we
must
go.
know the answer.
Thank you very much. The grand prize winner tonight, please make it loud for Kiki Cannon.
The Cultural Armor from Monster Hunter! Woo! Now, judges, we need to hear, what was it about Kiki Cannon's cosplay that made it the overall winner?
Some of the things we've already mentioned, but something that you can't tell is every feather was hand painted, and even underneath those structures, she actually created a foam structure and then sewed velvet on top of it so that you can, if there's anything showing in between, it looks like it's cohesive, and they're actually, you can't see the velvet. She made the pocket in the back, the dagger, when you touch it, it feels like bone. Like just everything about this costume it's so beautiful.
Yeah, just her forearm has a silicone piece, a cast resin piece, and foam pieces that all look like they're made of the exactly same material, despite being all completely different pieces.
That is so hard to do right.
Yeah, the different disciplines, like I said earlier, that were showcased here, but they were all done so well, so precisely. It showcases somebody who knows a ton about every element of this hobby.
And the different like textures and colors that she managed to all tie together, it was a beautiful cohesion. So.
I'm loving seeing the delight in all of your faces. You can't take your eyes off of her. So thank you so much. Once again, put your hands together for our grand prize winner, Kiki Cannon!
And your fan favorite winner, Jingle Boo Boo!
One more time, let's hear it for all of the finalists in needleworking, armor, FX, and larger than life categories!
And for all the contestants you saw on stage tonight.
And we really need to hear it for your judges this evening, Casey Renee, Harrison Fricks, Jillian Owen, and Pocket! A huge thank you to them for lending us their expertise and having the really tough job of choosing the top contenders from everyone we saw tonight. And an extra special shout out to Harrison for making the medals and the trophies given to the winners. Yeah, they were gorgeous. Now, thank you all so much for joining us this evening. I know that cosplay is a huge part of your life, Adam. So hasn't it been fun celebrating it tonight?
Sorry?
It's been fun celebrating cosplay tonight, I think. Hasn't it?
I am so inspired by every one of these costumes. It
can
makes
see your
my
brain
hands
math.
itch to get to work. I'm like gonna go grab my sketchbook. So I thank you guys for also spreading the love of cosplay. I know that every one of these costumes is the apex of thousands of hours of labor and sweat and toil and stress and friendship and camaraderie. And thank you for bringing that work here tonight.
Yes, and thank you so much to all of you for joining us. If you want to meet tonight's finalists and any of the other great cosplayers, be sure to check out the Cosplay Meetup, which is happening tomorrow at 2:30 in the Expo Hall. This has been the 2019 TwitchCon Cosplay Contest. Thanks for joining me, Adam.
Thank you for having me.
We really appreciate it.